Hey, what is going on, guys? This is the SS Ultimate Goku back with another video with some news. Some great news, ladies and gentlemen. So this just came out. This report had just come out. There was already positive news about Venom There Be Carnage news there on the numbers. There were reports that the first week had 90 million, 90.1 million. Again, this isn't even taking into account the worldwide numbers there, you know what I mean? Since it's going into China as well, which Shang-Chi did not, as well as the other countries besides the US there. So, movie's already on track. The report is in 5 days of it being in the theaters, it made over 100 million. 100 million, slightly over 100 million at the box office. 5 days, smashing the pandemic record so far of movies in the movie theaters. You know what I mean there? But more importantly, this one step closer for my bold prediction that I've been saying for over a year. I made a video a month ago about this. I think it was a month ago. But I've been saying this for years now. That the second Venom film would make $1 billion at the box office. And it is already on track for making $1 billion. Already smashing the record in the pandemic, doing exactly what it's supposed to do, given the business, you know what I mean there, and proving all the critics wrong. You see, the little critics are still being a-holes about this movie. You know, you remember the critics in the first movie, they tried to trash it, and then everybody went to the theaters and loved it and got it right around where Spider-Man Homecoming made, the first Spider-Man MCU movie, solo MCU movie for Spider-Man. Just right around those numbers. I think it was only about 5 million off of it. Pretty good company. Far From Home comes out, the sequel Spider-Man solo MCU movie makes $1 billion. I said right there that Venom 2, whenever it came out, would make $1 billion. And despite the pandemic, because, you know, people are going back to the movie theaters now, okay, Venom, over 100 million. No, not Shang-Chi, not this, not that, not Black Widow. Venom. There Be Carnage. Broke the pandemic record. And it's going to make $1 billion by the time it gets out of the theaters. People are going to see this again. I went to go see it a second time yesterday, actually, on Tuesday. Because I went to go see the first Venom 3 times, so I have to go see this movie at least 3 times. Everybody's going to see this movie again. The movie is doing great. It was phenomenal. And you see all the little haters making some, you know, nitpicking remarks. Now, I did my review. It's a 40-minute review because I go into details about everything. By now, you guys should have seen it. If you haven't seen it and you're watching this video, what are you doing? Go see the movie right now. But I said it before and I'll say it again. This movie was a phenomenal movie. But not only this was a phenomenal movie, I mean, you got the nitpickers, the critics, that are trying to bury this film, just like they did in the first film. It's really, really, really screwed up that you have these weirdos that because it doesn't have their agenda on it. It's just a fun movie that they try to nitpick at things. So first of all, one of the first arguments I've heard about Venom, Let There Be Carnage, was that they didn't have diversity in this movie. Yeah. No diversity in this movie. So, for anybody who hasn't watched this movie or are just stupid and don't actually know anything, let me dumb this down for you. Shriek was race swapped. Yeah, she was. In the comic books, she is not black. So you all little diversity, little hype train people are hypocrites. Okay? Because there was a character that was race swapped in this movie. So yeah, that was one of the things I had heard, and I had seen someone talk about this, that there was no diversity in this movie. Shriek was diversified. I didn't even know, because I didn't know who Shriek was going into this movie. I'd never heard of her until this movie. So another thing about Shriek that I had heard and someone had talked about was about how she's a mutant and she shouldn't be in this movie. So I had to do my research on this, okay, because I didn't know who Shriek was. Which, by the way, they didn't really give her actual uniform. She wasn't wearing she wasn't wearing her accurate uniform at all in this. She kind of I had said in my review she looked like Raven, but now that I'm thinking about it right now, she actually kind of acts and kind of looks, at least from her comic book counterpart, she actually looks like Jinx from Teen Titans. For anybody who doesn't know, she was like a villain, but then she kind of got with Kid Flash and she kind of became more of a hero at the end of the series. She kind of reminds me of her in some weird way, at least from what I looked at, from what she's supposed to look like in the comic books. But I digress. So that was the first argument I heard from these weirdos. Okay, so yeah, you're full of crap now. But of course, because Shriek is an unpopular character, I guess that's why her character doesn't count, apparently. So that was the first thing I heard about the people that the critics that hated on this movie, which I just laughed at right away once I looked up who Shriek was. Okay, so just glad it wasn't a redhead at this point. But anyways, so number two, I heard is that Shriek was a mutant. Okay, first of all, again, I had to do the research on this, and to my understanding, Shriek debuts as a Spider-Man character. So while she might be a quote-unquote mutant, she is not part of the X-Men continuity. She is part of the Spider-Man continuity. Sony owns the Spider-Man cinematic rights, which means any character that debuted in Spider-Man, they have the cinematic access rights to. And outside of the Peter Parker Spider-Man, which they're contractually sharing with Disney and the MCU right now for the movies, they can use whatever other characters they want from the Spider-Man pool, so to speak. And they chose to use Shriek because Shriek and Carnage are kind of acquaintances in the comic books. And so it was probably a good call since they are kind of acquaintances in the comic book. Um, Now, someone had told me that they actually kind of are boyfriend and girlfriend, but from what I looked up, it didn't seem like they were, but I'm not exactly sure if they're actually boyfriend and girlfriend in the comic books, if that's a movie thing. I've gotten conflicted things on that. I'm trying to find something of where they're actually like either kissing or having some type of relationship or whatever. I haven't seen that, but regardless, they are acquaintances, so the movie decided to make it a romance. I don't really have an issue with that because it creates drama and suspense, especially for a movie. So didn't really have an issue with that. I actually thought that made Carnage. I thought that made Cletus Cassidy more interesting in the movie. That he had some type of storyline, story arc, because he's a serial killer. He's a serial killer, and I even pointed this out in my review, when you notice, him having at odds with Carnage because Carnage wanted to kill Shriek, and Cletus Cassidy was like, "No, no, you can't kill him. That's my wife. Kill her. That's my wife." He had compassion for her. That was the only person Cletus Cassidy actually had compassion for, because he is a cold-hearted serial killer. So I thought that added depth and drama to the storyline by them actually being a couple. Them not mentioning that she's a mutant really is irrelevant, because again, they don't own the rights. Obviously, Fox had owned the rights to the word mutant. Obviously, now Disney does because they own Fox, but they didn't say mutant. Maybe they could have gotten away with it since they are in a relationship with Disney with this whole MCU thing going on for Spider-Man. And spoilers again, but we are going to kind of get in that end of the movie at the ending credit scene. They literally confirmed that Venom is now in the MCU. So, they don't show exactly who else goes to the MCU. I'm assuming everyone from the cast that was in Venom 2 that didn't die is being teleported to the MCU as well. I think the universe merged with the MCU, in my personal opinion. Which, by the way, I should point out, a lot of people think Shriek is dead. And while, yes, she's possibly dead, I'm not going to say that she actually is dead, because, she literally... they don't actually show her die. Like, we don't actually get a confirmation she died. Like, all they did was show that a bell fell on top of her. Which, yes, that could kill somebody, but, she has mutant powers. She has that screaming ability. You see that right before she falls down. Obviously, the bell wasn't actually in there because Carnage had taken it out. The thing that makes the bell ring. So, it was just a bell thing falling on top of her. That doesn't necessarily mean that she died. They don't actually show she died. So, she could actually still be alive. I don't know. So, yeah, I heard about this, and I'm like, really? Come on now. These critics that are making these dumb assertions, oh, she's a mutant, oh, she's there. Like, well, what the frick? Who cares about that, bro? What about the character? What about the performance? What about, the things that really matter? I think she did a good job. I would have liked them to actually have had her wearing the comic book uniform, but they didn't. So yeah. The third thing about this movie that the critics are attacking, is that Eddie Brock is gay. Okay, first of all, we don't on this channel have any issues with anybody that is gay or bi or, whatever your sexuality is. Um, However, that being said, Eddie Brock and Venom are not gay. Okay? As a matter of fact, Venom is not even a dude. Okay? Or a chick. Okay? He's literally an alien that has no gender. And before you say, oh, well, an alien has to have a gender, last time I checked, Piccolo and his entire Namekian race has one gender, which this was actually stated in the anime, so don't even get me started with that crap. By Dende. So, you guys saying that, oh, well, he's an alien, so that has to be... No, that's not how it works, dude. He's an alien. And here's the thing. I don't view Eddie Brock or Venom as a loving couple. I view them as a bromance. They have to care for one another because, their situation is, Venom has to live in Eddie Brock, to survive. It's a bromance. It's not an actual love couple. They're not going to be kissing each other and making out, or whatever there. I will say, like I said in my review, I did not like how they had Anne leave. I would have liked to seen Anne be with Eddie Brock, and Venom or whatever, because Venom, as a matter of fact, Venom wanted Eddie Brock to get with Anne. Okay, he was trying to get her with him throughout the entire movie, as well as the first movie. Okay, I've publicly said I did not like that, especially letting Anne run off with some random, person that they just made up for the movie in Dr. Dan. But this whole idea that Venom and Eddie are gay, that they're running that whole thing, and they're trying... See, the thing is also, too, is they're running that article. I've seen articles on this. They're trying to run that as, something that wants to piss people off. They're trying to piss people off. Oh, see, they're gay. This is, I'm like, dude, no one cares. First of all, no one cares about who's gay and who's not. Okay? No one cares about that. But Eddie Brock and Venom aren't gay. They just have a love bromance going on. Because they have to, be together, to kind of, obviously Eddie needs Venom, really, because he's kind of blacklisted in a way. And Venom needs Eddie Brock because, other than Anne, really, Venom can't successfully sink in with anyone else for a long period of time besides Eddie Brock, other than Anne, really. So it makes sense, but apparently some people are complaining about this. Or the media is complaining about this and trying to create fake outrage, which is kind of ridiculous because it's like, dude, we've gone through enough with this crap. We've gone through enough of your stupid changes to characters, Lola Bunny, Jessica Rabbit, we've had enough of this crap. And then we get something good. We get a good movie that no one's complaining about besides you critics. And you guys try to make up fake stuff that doesn't make any sense. That no one cares about. No one cares if a character is gay. Okay? A sane person. But you're just trying to make up things. Because, Venom is just a alien. He's just an alien. Like he's just like a random alien. He doesn't have a real established gender. Okay. It'd be kind of like Piccolo and Namekian. They have one specific gender in Planet Namek. I can't believe I'm using a Dragon Ball Z analogy for this, but that's the point. I just think this is kind of, I think it's fake outrage. Fake outrage. People are salty because again, the movie's doing really good. They're in the MCU, which they're pissed off even more about, by the way, that Kevin Feige allowed this to go in the MCU because they're in a you scratch my back, I scratch your back type situation. I said this for like years now. Kevin Feige openly said that Spider-Man can go back and forth from Sony to the MCU. Well, he probably left out the part that Venom can be in the MCU too because he didn't want people to know that. He didn't want people to know that. And despite what you've heard about the contract, the short-term new contract that Sony and the MCU and Disney have agreed to, we don't know everything that was involved in that contract unless we physically see what the paper says, what the document says. All right, yeah, they told us a lot and probably the majority of the terms, but they didn't give us everything on there. You know damn well that Venom wasn't going to be in the MCU for however long he is in the MCU for if they didn't have some type of agreement in place. You know what I mean there? So Venom's in the MCU. Venom versus Spider-Man 3 or whatever they call the movie. Obviously Venom has to be first in the title because it is a Venom trilogy. But if they end up going with the title Venom versus Spider-Man, it will be quite interesting because Venom is the main focus of that movie because that would be Venom 3. It wouldn't be a Spider-Man movie because it's Venom 3. It's just they're not calling it Venom 3. Just like they didn't call it Venom 2 here. But you would have to have Venom be first. You can't say Spider-Man versus Venom because this is the third Venom movie, not the third Spider-Man movie. So it would have to be Venom versus Spider-Man if they decided to title it that. Or maybe they'll title it something else. Obviously with Captain America, they didn't title it Captain America versus Iron Man. They titled it Captain America Civil War. They could do something with Venom and then not necessarily call it Venom versus Spider-Man, but something else. But Spider-Man is the person that Venom is facing in the movie. But yeah, I don't know where Venom is. I don't think he's going to be in Far From Home. Or not Far From Home, sorry. No Way Home. I don't think he's going to be in No Way Home. I think they're saving that for maybe the Multiverse of Madness 2, which Peter Parker has to appear in that movie per the short-term contract. It was one solo movie and one Marvel Disney movie appearance. So that's going to be that one. And I personally don't think we're going to see Venom again until Venom 3, which will take place probably in that same time frame. But I don't know. But yeah, some of this stupid stuff like that the critics have been attacking is ridiculous. It's stupid. Enjoy the movie. This is a good, well done movie. It's enjoyable. People love it. And anybody can go watch it. Your parents come in there with their kids and you see it if they think it's good enough. You get the older people, the comic book diehards, MCU fans, Marvel movie fans in general, or just superhero fans in general. It's a great movie. It's very entertaining. It's a very entertaining movie. I loved it from start to finish. Again, I nitpicked some stuff that I didn't like, but that's just kind of me, would have liked Eddie Brock to end up with Anne because that is comic book accurate. And I just kind of did not like how they just get with a random character, a throwaway character that should have probably been killed off. I thought Carnage was going to kill Dan, and that didn't happen. Um, you know, the only disappointing thing is that Carnage ends up getting killed at the end. You know, I would have liked to have seen Carnage make it out. You know, not die, and it runs into a third film where Spider-Man's there, Carnage is there, and Venom is there. It would be like the Maximum Carnage movie, basically. I would have liked to have seen that, but obviously they're more of a different direction because they got Spider-Man and they probably just want it to be Venom versus Spider-Man. They might have Toxic be the villain that interrupts them, but they didn't really kind of show that he was going to get the symbiote because they never really show Carnage get bitten by Mulligan, but at the same time they never actually show him getting bitten, but then they show the whole eye thing with because of what Shriek did, but they never show anything else. And obviously, Carnage choked a lot of people, so a lot of people would have been affected by that logic. If you're going to go by the logic of, oh, well, he was choked by Carnage, that really doesn't mean that he would get a symbiote because of that. But yeah, I mean, it's a great movie. Screw the haters, screw these critics that are trying to bury it. It's ridiculous. Venom was a great film. Don't listen to these haters. It made over $100 million. It's gonna make $1 billion. I still maintain that it's gonna make $1 billion. I'm putting on it. It's gonna make around the same amount of money as Far From Home did. Just like how Venom 1 made around the same amount of money as Homecoming did. They have the foreign domestic advantage, which Shang-Chi didn't even have because that movie was banned in China. So yeah, guys, it's a great movie. Just try to ignore all these stupid haters. Like, it's ridiculous. I find a lot of it hilarious because, when anybody else, when we talk about stuff like this, in reverse, for some stuff like with Jessica Rabbit or The Little Mermaid and stuff like that, or Lola Bunny, everyone gets up in arms about us. But when we have an entertaining film that actually fits every criteria that they argued, it's not a good film. Freaking bullshit. It's ridiculous. Go see the movie if you haven't seen the movie. It's a great movie. Don't listen to these idiots. It's ridiculous. And again, 100 million within 5 days, guys. 100 million within 5 days, guys. Very, very good. I'm very happy for it, and I'm going to make a video when it makes $1 billion, because it's going to make $1 billion. Y'all know it's going to make $1 billion. It's going to get at that 1 billion, baby. And all the haters can just roast at that point. It'll be music to my ears. I'm the SS Ultimate Goku. Comment, rate. If you like to see my videos, please subscribe. And that's about it, guys. I am the SS Ultimate Goku. Peace.